Good morning, but not if you're Haley Stevens. It's Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. Welcome to DeProgram with Ted Rall and Jamarl Thomas. The election results are in from Michigan. It's official. Haley Stevens, backed by AIPAC and $60 million in dark money, has been defeated in a big political upset by Dr. Abdul El-Sayed. He goes on to defend a sitting Democratic seat this fall against the Republicans. This has massive political implications for the Civil War for control of the Democratic Party. So obviously, Jamarl, you were up very late covering this. The race wasn't called overnight. It looks like he has prevailed by about 1.3% of the
It's
vote.
close. Yeah.
It's close. I wouldn't say, it's not Bush v. Gore, but it's close. So that was, that's an interesting gap between the polling, which showed him ahead by between 10 and 11 points on average. Some polls up by at least 16 points, or I should say as much as 16 points. So anyway, there's a lot to talk about. We also need to talk about the likelihood of this Iran-Oman Strait of Hormuz deal, which I think this one looks like it's going to happen. And the situation in Europe, where the weather is just absolutely disrupting the economy and everyday life, and of course, killing people. The climate change crisis is hitting really hard right now. So, we need to touch base on that. So, let's talk about Michigan. So, now the political establishment starts to complain that Abdul will not be electable this fall.
Uh-huh.
That's
that's their argument now. Like, did you see her interview, Haley Stevens?
She was bitter.
Oh, bitter is an understatement. She was like, and because they asked her the most basic question in the world: you received $60 million. And what do you think about the fact that you got that money and it was, had negative consequences? And her basic point was, well, look, Democrats take this money under normal circumstances. Peters is going to take this money. So, what's the issue, right? And he even made the point of saying, well, I don't like dark money. I think dark money sucks. And the reporter, to his credit, was like, but you took $60 million.
Yeah, I guess $30 million was not. I think it's all dark because $30 million came under this PAC that has what is it, like the Democratic Progressive, whatever. It's not called AIPAC. And when they run the ads, they usually only 6% of the ads that they ran in this race had anything to do with Israel or made any reference to supporting Israel. They're all about other things, right? So to me, that's dark money, although officially it doesn't count as dark money because we know we can attribute it directly to AIPAC if we're journalists. But the other $30 million, so it's a $60 million total, there's no way really to know for sure where it came from, but we all kind of know where it came from. Kind of know. But it's all dark money, really. But yeah.
Well, I guess the point is the idea that you're like, well, I don't like this system and I do this and I hate dark money and blah, blah, blah. He was outspent 9-1. 9-1.
I'm seeing 12-1.
That could be the case. I just saw, when I was watching CNN, the coverage on it. Either way, 9-1 or 12-1, that is an astonishing sum. And they are attributing it to AIPAC. Meaning when the reporter is asking her questions, he's attributing her loss to AIPAC and to the Democratic establishment effectively backing her in the way that they were backing her. And from her point of view, she's like, well, I'm the only one that can win. He's going to lose, etc.
Well, she did say she would endorse him and campaign for him if requested, although I don't know what good it would do him. But
she said that?
She did say that before. Yeah, they don't always do it. I don't know how enthusiastic she would be.
Right.
But that's the spin, right? I mean, so now the Democratic Party gets, at least in Michigan, gets to test out my base theory of politics, which goes back decades, and which Donald Trump has certainly proved on the right. Now we get to see if it works on the left, which is that there's a lot, after years of the Democrats chasing the elusive swing voter, Bernie Sanders and other people have argued that what really motivates voters is enthusiasm, and that there's more enthusiasm in the base of the Democratic Party than there is among the soft centrists. Now we're going to see if that's true. This is going to be a turnout. It always is a turnout game, but I mean, obviously, Sayed has. It's up to Sayed to develop a good ground game and bring it across the line. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here. So
Well, can we talk about the polling thing for a moment?
yeah.
The
What
reason
happened
why
there?
I was entirely reluctant at times where I would hedge myself when I was talking about this race is because there's so much money on one side of it. And
Mhm.
when you get the political machine of the Democratic Party, you get $60 million, you get this kind of huge gulf between the two candidates in regards to the amount of money that they have to spend. I get worried about what may happen on election night with that much money and that much political power in the party, meaning the ability to get people out to the votes, the ability to bust people in, the ability to knock on doors. Okay, money in a ground game is huge in that. And they obviously had it. Meaning, if that polling was any degree closer, he would have lost.
Oh well, that's true. Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of like to beat a corporatist in today's Democratic Party. You need that 10 to 15 point margin
Yeah,
just to squeak in barely under the wire.
yeah. I mean, they had him up by like 15 points for
Not to
for
mention
like
it's
a
a
week.
Democratic primary. So okay, I hate to say it. I'm not a big election integrity person, but it's a primary. There's more possibilities for biased vote counting shenanigans in a primary than there are in a general election.
Yeah, you basically. I think the rule is that you need a hell of a lead if you're going to win
Mhm.
it against that much money and that much thing. I guess this is kind of the Thomas Massey thing, right? You- That confers a certain amount of power. And when we see polling that says, hey, this person is going to be up 15, 10 points, it depends on who they're going against, depends on how much money, whether the establishment is back, and it depends on a lot of stuff. But that gap needs to be significant. At least it seems that way. Because otherwise, I don't know how to explain it. We could say that the polling was wrong, but maybe it wasn't wrong.
I mean,
Like, I
polling
mean,
has become more challenging now that landlines are no longer a thing, right?
that's
They're
true.
calling people on cell phones. It's harder to get the numbers. It's harder to know. I mean, like people have cell phones. I have a good friend. He has a New Orleans phone number. He hasn't lived in New Orleans in 25 years, right? I mean,
No,
so who knows where those phone numbers belong to? And I mean, I was looking at the map of the state. I thought the results were interesting where they were. In some cases, it's like not surprising. Detroit went for Stevens. That's obviously the DNC. Jim Clyburn machine at work to some
yeah,
extent. It's small c conservative black voters concerned about electability. They're scared of losing the seat to the Republicans in the fall.
right.
Um, there's other stuff that's definitely also predictable. Ann Arbor, where the enormous University of Michigan, big liberal center in the state, obviously went hard for Stephen. I mean, sorry, for Saeed. Um,
Mhm.
and but then there's other stuff that is really like odd, like Upper Peninsula of Michigan, like in the middle of places where there's a lot of hunters, conservative MAGA types. They went hard for Saeed.
I saw
Um,
that.
and it's so interesting. And then, so I guess the challenge for Saeed is he's got to pay attention to black voters. I mean, he's got to get the Detroit people out to the polls. Otherwise, he is going to lose this fall. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with the Sanders wing
Hmm.
that for whatever
They don't.
reason
They don't do
can't
this.
make a connection. For
No.
the life of me, I don't get it. As a person who's black, who are defined as such, I don't get it. Like from my point of view, like, and the only thing I can attribute that to is the democratic machine. Like, meaning blacks. It's not that we're a monolith. But in some respects we are because we dump all of that energy into one particular political party for the most part in mass, like by enormous numbers. Who keeps the monsters at bay? And it seems like the older black population is very wed to this notion of the democratic machine,
Hmm.
whereas young voters are more, they will make a different choice.
Right.
Older voters seem to be wed to this, like the churchgoers, you
Mhm.
know, the boomers that go to black church and souls to the polls and all this stuff.
Yeah.
those people seem to be wed to a democratic machinery that they, for whatever particular belief, trust, despite its failures, which is wild. Like, meaning, how many failures does it take for you to finally say, okay, maybe this isn't working? And the black voters haven't necessarily hit that point yet, at least the older generation, who seems to be stuck in their ways on this. I don't think they realize it's falling apart.
I would vote for Saeed in a general election as a right winger if he would just get off his gun control crap.
Oh, he's a gun control advocate.
Oh, hell yeah. He's a Democrat.
Which is wild for Michigan.
Well, they aren't all, but
But he is. I mean, seriously, if you go after the MAGA types, and the way you should do that is no. So, okay, if you can keep your guns, if you let us have our abortions.
But see, I think the issue is Detroit. If I'm being honest, I think the issue might be Detroit.
Well, I agree, but if he overperforms in rural Michigan, he doesn't need Detroit as much.
No. What I mean by that is, let's say if you're dealing with gun violence, let's say, for example, if you're Chicago, and if you get elected, they're going to ask you questions. Hey, what are you going to do with gun violence? We're looking like a war zone. Yeah. They may do something similar in various areas of Michigan, considering Michigan has hit the skids,
Lock the thugs up and sit them away for a very, very, very long time. No more catch and release. No more. No more letting people slide on violating gun rules. Actually enforce them. So basically, go after the criminals, not lawful gun owners. That's the answer.
This may shock you, but I am not a huge gun. To be honest, a lot of lefties aren't really gun advocates. They believe that when the revolution comes, they need to have their guns. Like, meaning they're very similar to people who are on the right with this idea of guns are required for revolutions. Guns are required in order to stem the tide of government overreach, especially in the black community. No BS on that.
Well, the first gun control laws were racist. I mean, they were passed by the U.S. government to deprive black people from the ability to defend themselves against the Klan.
I will tell you another one. Ronald Reagan, if you remember, in California, there was this thing where blacks were going to have this march and everything else in California. Ronald Reagan comes out and wants to have gun legislation because, we don't want these blacks with guns. So I'm not entirely against you on that. The problem that I have is that when you're seeing a huge level of gun violence, your first instinct is, I need to do something about the fact that there's gun violence. And government often doesn't take this long view look like, hey, what are the reasons for it? What are the causes? What is, it's one thing to say, hey, let's lock up a bunch of people. But we already have a fourth of the entire prison population in our jails. We only have 0.5% of the world. So how many people do you actually want to lock up? And is there a better way of doing it before the person turns to a life of crime in the first place? The government doesn't really ask that question, which is what the question should be asking. Because otherwise, this idea of, hey, let's just throw everybody in prison. Again, 25% of the world's jails are in America, meaning 25% of the people who are in prison are in American jails. Okay, that's outrageous. That's problematic in itself. That's like a gulag.
Well, that's because we have a for-profit prison system. So to answer your question, if instead of picking somebody up for tax evasion, which frankly, they should be given a medal for because those tax dollars are being used to fund a genocide. Right. You can instead go after drug dealers, thugs, murderers, that kind of the actual real honest to God people who are a predator on the public at large. Go after them. That's the case that Saeed can make. Listen, I'm not saying he's going to.
If Saeed's trying to appeal to black voters, though, in Detroit, I mean, look, nobody knows better than people in urban black communities, how the prison industrial complex has completely ravages families, right? Like, one person gets arrested for doing something stupid when they're 18 years old, and then the whole family spins out. They're reduced to driving long distances to visit them, filling their commissary accounts, paying hundreds of dollars to talk to them on the phone, and they get bankrupted too. I mean, and they don't see their communities getting any safer or cleaner as a result. Right. I don't think that's going to fly. Also, we're talking about a Senate race, right? I mean, he's not running for governor. I mean, he's not going to have any effect on this. I mean, it's sort of like, I guess you can talk about it, but it's not going to, it's not going to change anything. I mean, the Supreme Court's been very clear. You can now buy guns legally in Manhattan. It's gun control is out of the bag. It's kind of like a non-issue at this stage. I mean, or it ought to be. I mean, yeah, maybe it's just something I wouldn't talk about if I were Saeed. I just sort of like focus. It's got to be. He's got to focus on bread and butter issues, and he's got to reach out to blacks. I mean, it's Michigan. There's just
Agreed.
no way you can't do that. I
I would say, yeah, reach out to blacks, reach out to all of them.
yeah,
I mean, like meaning with one of the benefits, and I know we're bringing up Sanders, but I'm bringing up Sanders in his association with Saeed because I think there's probably a similarity between these two, was this universal campaign. Like, and I think that's where lefties get it wrong, where lefties disconnect a bit. When they look at it, they say, well, Medicare for all is for everybody.
Mhm.
It's not about you being black, right? It's not about you being white. It's not about you. It's for everybody. It's across the board.
sure.
Increases of Social Security is for everybody. $15 an hour wage is for everybody. And then the black community says, yeah, but what you're going to do for me? Now, that is coming from a Democratic Party thing, but this feels like this. It's like, but the party wasn't doing anything for you anyway. Whereas all these
Right.
other things are for you, just like it's for everybody else. I'm reaching out to everybody because everybody is an American and all of us are, similar under the law. And for whatever particular reason, that doesn't connect, which I don't quite get. Honestly, God, it was a mystery to me. And
Yeah.
the only thing I can reconcile it with is the Democratic Party and the machinery is against those things. And the black vote tends to float with the machinery of the party.
That's
I
exactly.
don't know another answer for it.
I don't either. I mean, look, if I'm Saeed, I'm focusing, on urban issues, not necessarily black issues, but it's Detroit. Most people who live in Detroit are black disproportionately. Maybe more mass transit, cleaner drinking water, rehab, more community centers, more rehabs, better schools, all that kind of stuff.
But like you said, he doesn't really
Urban
touch those
issues.
things. He's running for Senate.
Right. Right. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, it's not going to be like he can deliver a lot of this stuff, especially as a freshman senator. But he's got to make those connections. I mean, he's got to those. I mean, let me ask you before we take some questions. I mean, how badly is so the DNC is obviously butthurt to the extent that we care about any entity that has a minus $2 million bank account. But they're gonna try to. I mean, are they gonna? I mean, I know the answer to this, but I mean, they should
He will
just
get no help.
they should get the memo and just say like, okay, this is our guy in Michigan, and let's reach out and let's back him to the hilt to the extent that we can with our minus $2 million, or and reach out to the donors, or are we going to cut him loose and like we're going to lose that Senate seat to the Republicans because we really don't want to give up control of the party to the DSA people.
I think they will be hard pressed to give up. It depends on whether this is a brain trust issue or whether this is we want the seat issue. If it's a brain trust issue where the Democratic Party feels like they're under threat and react to the fact that they're under threat, it's very possible that they would cut him loose because they would prefer him to lose in order to damage the idea of a lefty running in the race. Meaning Haley Stevens' final assessment is he's going to lose in the general. He can't win in the general. Okay, is that a Democratic Party point of view? Meaning, do they look at that race and say, it's better that he loses because we want to make it look as if a lefty can't win? Kind of like the Mamdani thing, right?
Yeah.
Mamdani thing. Well, we want
a poison pill, right?
Yeah, a poison pill. We want it to look as if the left can't win. The next time another candidate comes up that is further to the left than the Democratic Party, we want people to believe that guy is going to lose. Kind of like, what is the presidential candidate? McGovern. That they always bring up McGovern, right? Well, McGovern, look how bad McGovern lost. Look how bad McGovern lost. McGovern couldn't win. Lefties can't win. This is what we want to instill. It may be that, right? I could very well see that. I could totally see that. Meaning he has to run in a way where he cannot depend upon the Democratic Party and the machinery of the party to win. He has to be able to win on his own merits. And if he can do that, though, he's free.
He has to run as an insurgent. And then he's liberated.
He's liberated.
I mean, although I don't know, AOC ran that way, and
True.
she's not. She captured herself.
True.
She voted for Mama Bear right
He
away.
may have to do. Well, true, but he may have to do the same thing.
Sure. He'll
He may have to win that race on his
He'll
own.
have to bend the knee, of course.
Well, I'm not saying he has to bend the knee. I'm saying he will have, if he wins this race on his own merits, he's not beholden to anybody. He wanted on his own merits. The party, especially if he believes that the party is trying to put a knife in him as he's trying to run. Oh,
which of course is true.
It could be very true. Yes, it could be very true.
Yeah, although I mean, you'd like them to turn over a new leaf, but they won't. Okay.
Well, I think we're kicking and screaming. I mean, like if this is not a flash in the pan, and if what you see is righteous anger and indignation from a public that looks at the party as a red letter or as a scarlet letter, which means that every time the party backs somebody, the public tends to go in a different direction. You may see something different, like meaning the party may not have a choice. He's only insurgent because the democratic machinery is intact currently. But if that starts to wither and creep because the public is looking for something different and they believe that the center has failed, you may, I don't know what that something would be, but you may get something that starts to change the mechanics of what this stuff looks like. That might take a while, however, unfortunately.
Totally. All right, Harry Balsack, here. Thanks for the comment. Hey guys, great show last night. Jamarl, buddy, I love you to death, but you got to do something about the jumpy video and sketchy in and out, scratchy mic.
What do you mean, jumpy video in and out sketchy?
See, I've heard people to do with the way that we broadcast yesterday, right? Like we grabbed.
I see.
That's why, because we weren't going directly from Rumble Studio.
It was processor lag. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. Because that wasn't on my channel. Like meaning I didn't get the lag on my channel. And I don't think you guys did the link like a typical link where you share it. I think you guys did it on the show and then presented it.
I grabbed it. Yeah, I grabbed it and rebroadcasted it.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
but it might
that won't be normally the case. Yeah.
I mean, listen. Stuff happens.
Yeah, and that wasn't that way. I don't think people experienced it on my channel that way. But I do appreciate you. Thank you for that.
Anna Mandarake, imagine saying that you dream of Israel and still getting over 40% of the votes. People have no pride.
Yeah.
It's so funny about that. Well, I certainly hope she certainly has a lot of time to now go spend in Israel, and I hope she goes and does that, and that'll be good for her. Spock's Turtles saw Larry Loomer call Saeed an Islamic jihadist. Imagine my disappointment when I discovered he isn't.
Larry Loomer. Yeah. Oh, by the way, tell me if he noticed if the video is jumpy and the mic is off, and this as we do our videos here.
Yeah. I want to know. But yeah, okay. Harry Balsack said, I wasn't going to vote, but I did. It takes a lot to get me to the ballot box, and Haley Stevens was enough to say this cannot happen. Face red, droopy eyes. I mean, there is a candidate quality issue here. We talked about it yesterday. I mean, she was truly a miserable candidate. That's, taking ideology aside. I mean, She just had nothing going for her in terms of presentation. And I don't really mean that just about her looks. I mean, she was just like, ooh. I mean, it's a casting call. And I think Michiganders look at it and they're like, do I want to see this lady staring at me out of my TV screen or out of my phone for the next 6 years? Do I want to hear that voice? I mean, that has a lot to do with it.
I think that has a lot to do with it. Yes, agreed. But I mean, there's a substance issue. I mean, I think Saeed at the very least has an ideology. I think for her, as you point out, I think it's more of a casting call. Like, unfortunately, like meaning I don't need her to be intelligent. I don't need her to be bright. I don't need her to be knowledgeable of the world. The party machinery is choosing her because she's not those things. Right. And by the way, do you remember, I think this was Steny Hoyer did this. Well, Steny Hoyer had a conversation. There was a guy that was running. I forget where he was running, but Steny Hoyer has a conversation. The guy records the conversation. And Steny Hoyer tells the guy to get out the race. Hey, I know you want to run, but we're not going to help you. You're not going to get any support. You're not going to get any of the stuff. You just need to get out the race. And then Nancy Pelosi was pissed off that he recorded it and outed the conversation. They choose people.
That is what they do. I mean, famously, maybe to me, when Hillary Clinton ran successfully for Senate from New York, and she was a carpetbagger. She didn't live in the state, and they had a lady who was going to be like the likely nominee. She was fantastic. She'd been working through she was an educator. She'd been working her way up the system, a huge advocate for kids in the state. If memory serves, she was Black. And she was, basically everyone was really all us lefties were looking forward to seeing her as senator from New York, because if you have the Democratic nomination for Senate, you will be the senator. And they basically called her and said, like, stand down. We're giving this spot to Hillary, and don't worry, we got you later. We have a marker for you. We got you. Of course, they never. I mean, I don't know what she's doing now, but she's not in politics.
Yeah, that's wild.
But that is what they
That
do.
sucks because what they're doing is they're trying to maintain the brain trust. Like
Mhm.
basically, we have a body of ideas, which is in and of itself a wild concept.
The
Meaning you have
lame brain trust.
yeah, but like meaning they have a
Not
mind.
geniuses, these people.
No, they're not. But they have a ideology that they want to maintain, and in making choices themselves, that's their way of maintaining it.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, thanks for the $2 from Maybe Bluth Funk. Isn't it odd that the establishment only allows a random ethnic as the liberal option? It seems like a way to bake in a -10 discount on votes. I'm not anti-El-Sayed at all, but it feels odd.
I don't understand the question. Isn't it odd that
I
they
guess
get?
that, in other words, it's like that, basically, as the liberal option. I don't know if she means as the Democrat. I'm assuming she means as the Democrat, or maybe as the liberal option within the Democratic Party. But in other words, it's like if that person with that demographic is going to get in, it's only going to be from the left.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but that's not a Democrat thing. That's a Republican issue, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Republicans could choose a Muslim.
No one's stopping them. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody stopped them from doing that.
It's a free country. You can call anyone you want. You can do the opposite of one of those calls, like, "Hey,
No, that's not.
we love you. We want to lift you up where you belong."
Yeah, that's a Republican. That's a Republican question. Why don't they choose
Or
more
a
people?
corporatist Democrat question.
I mean,
Yeah.
Vivek is a Hindu, so I
True.
mean, and so is the war Karen. She used to be a Hindu, and then she supposedly converted to Christianity. But
Yeah, but those are
sweet Zionist lucre.
Those are two, right?
Yeah.
Like his point is the predominance of these people are coming out of the left. That's his point.
Well,
Most
lefties are more open to voting for people who don't look like me, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, no, it's the Democratic Party. It says diversity is your strength. It's people on the right typically say too much diversity is a poison. So you're not going to have. I mean, that's a philosophical divide between the two wings. So
I don't even know why that's philosophical.
Because culture
or it's
matters.
just that right wingers are racist, right?
Yeah, sure. Listen, I'm the most racist person that y'all know. You know that. Let me go get my Klan robe real quick.
I don't mean all of them, but I mean,
Dude, you just went there.
All right wingers.
You just went there.
Right wingers. But if you had to do a percentage, I love questions like this of the number of people that are racist in the country. What do you think that number is?
Oh, who are racist?
Based on what both of you think.
Well, it depends on how you define racist, right? I mean, to me, okay, so are you racist if you consider race at all in things like dating, or
No.
is it? I mean, I think you are if you consider things like that. Yeah,
that's right. We've had this conversation.
We've had this conversation. Yeah, we can. Yeah.
I choose.
Or are you racist? Let's say you were an employer and you would just, all things being equal, you would take the white dude over the black dude. That's racist too. I mean, so I don't know how you define racism. I mean, I don't want to be a weasel about it, but how defining racism is tricky.
Well, that's the hard part, right?
Tricky. Yeah, but part of the question is in your own definition of what that is.
Well, I mean,
part of the question on some level is, okay, well, what do I define racism is, and what do I think the country is?
Or if you're like the only white dude on a subway train at 2 a.m. in Bed-Stuy, are you scared? Is that racist?
I mean, but if I'm the only black dude on the subway in Bed-Stuy, I might be.
Yeah, you're the only black dude in a shit kicker bar in Southern Alabama, at 2 a.m. Are you scared? Right?
I am leaving that fucking bar. I don't think
that would be wise. Yeah,
I'm leaving that bar. I don't think that makes me racist. It's like you walk in and be like, all right, yes.
Well, I mean, isn't the definition of racism believing that one race is genetically superior over another?
That is clearly racist.
I mean, that is the definition of racism.
Okay,
I'm
so
not
let's go with that
racist.
definition.
Well, it's discrimination based on race, right? Or which could be systemic, or it could just be personal.
Well, I'm
Right.
clearly
So
racist because I'm racist against white women. I don't want to be with a white woman, so I married a black one. So I'm
That is
by
racist, actually.
definition, of course it is. Well, by your definition, which is retarded, but now here we are.
Thank you.
this
So I
is,
mean,
you know,
so make the
what's funny?
term.
This is like the David Chappelle thing, where it was the Black Klansman. I don't know if y'all saw that skit,
Oh, it was
where he didn't
hilarious.
know he was black because he was blind, and so he went through his life hating black people.
No,
He was married to a white woman, and at the end of it, when he found out, he called her in lover, so he divorced her. And got rid of her.
mean-
The skit is hilarious. The skit is utterly hilarious.
my best
No,
friend.
I didn't mean it. Like I legit meant the question just as a thought experiment for how people view the society to which they
I
live
think
in.
most Americans are racist. I mean, for sure. Well,
Really?
most white people are racist. Yeah,
I think most humans as a whole are
sure.
I wouldn't say it's racist. I think that they have have preferences based on culture. There's like, for example, no,
You got
Ted,
fucking
you have the option to live in the United States or to live in France. You're a dual citizen of both nations.
Mhm.
Why is it that you don't take your pasty little white self and you go live in Kenya? It's because you have a preference not to live on the
Actually,
dark
you just
continent.
answered your own question. I don't have a legal right to live in Kenya.
But if you did, would you?
I've never been to Kenya, so I can't say.
King
I mean,
is
I'm
racist.
not being a weasel. I literally cannot say. I mean, why would anyone move to a country they've never been
It's just like, no, for example, I would not ever want to go live in Baltimore. And the
But
reason
wait a minute,
is because it's a
There's a
hellscape.
lot of great things about Baltimore.
But
So
the difference. Wait a minute.
The best
that
part
question,
about Baltimore is me not being there.
that question
you
is
haven't been to
unfair.
Baltimore. See, you haven't been to
Wait,
Baltimore.
you're postulating something that's it's inherently problematic.
Maybe.
You've never been to a particular country. Meaning, if you say, "Hey, would you like to go live in feudal Japan?" Well,
Mhm.
I'm not raised in feudal Japan. I don't
Feudal
have
Japan
traits
doesn't
of
exist.
No,
Right.
but I'm giving an example. I'm trying to make the point of saying, why would you ever want to go and live in a culture that you've never lived in before if you haven't experienced it? Meaning, I grew up in America.
Mhm.
I'm reared here. I am geared to be here because this was where I was raised. I can tell you, when I was in Nepal, I had a difficult time in Nepal.
Let
I
me answer your
cracked
question.
in Nepal.
Let me
Which
let me
means
answer.
basically, I'm trying to make your point of saying, yes, you're right, but it's because I wasn't raised there.
But let me answer your question.
Inertia is powerful. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let me answer your question with an observation. The vast majority of migration happening on the entire planet is from people from Asia and Africa making their way to Western Europe or to the United States.
hmm
Because they want a better
Culturally,
life.
those countries are completely different from where they come from.
hmm
Because they want
But
a better
yet-
life.
Well, they're
There you go.
desperate. They're very desperate.
But
Yeah,
that's
but
the
if you
point I guess I'm
notice,
trying to make, though.
I know, but one of your complaints is that they maintain their culture when they come into the United States and they
Very
don't
much so.
necessarily assimilate, which means
Correct.
it's not like they gave up their culture as they moved here.
Correct. And that's my point.
I hope you get my
is-
point. I mean, but that's a damning point to the question that you're making, or to the question. They didn't give it up. They didn't say, okay, we're here and we're now just Americans, so we're acting and everything like Americans. Some do, but as you point out, some people are desperate when they get here. It's not, it's not like they want to give up something of their culture. It's more so that they want
It
a
also
better
should
life.
be pointed out that the vast majority of people who are born in Zambia are perfectly happy to stay in Zambia and have no desire to leave and live in their entire lives in Zambia.
Yeah,
But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, and I'm doing a very bad job at it, is it's not racist by having a cultural preference by preferring either your own culture or a culture at least that's adjacent to your own. That's not a racist thing.
Being more
Agreed.
comfortable living in the culture that you and language and all that you're accustomed to, it's just the path of least resistance. Okay, that's not a preference, really. I mean, I guess you could say it's a preference, but it's just easier, right? But preference to me indicates a racial preference is racist by definition, right?
I don't think it is. Like, put it this way, if I have a preference
If you
for
prefer to only be friends with members of I only want to be friends with Latinos, that's racist.
Why?
okay, well, yeah, that might be, but I
But
guess my thing is,
racism again, though, is saying that you're genetically superior, but no, because you're friends
Now
with
you're talking about
Latinos.
racial now you're talking about racial supremacy.
It's the
which
same
is a
thing.
subset of racism, but it's not all racial supremacy is racism. Not all racism is racial supremacy.
But then that's the problem. You can't define the term. I mean, everything's racist at that point.
Okay.
The term is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's racism is just considering race in decisions. In
I think it's a little
a
bit more.
negative in a biased way, right? In a
No,
negative.
but I think, look, if somebody said that, I had a friend of mine who had a preference for white women. What is his name? God, Chris. Chris would only date white women. Even when he was a child, his mom would say that was his preference for white women.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make him racist.
Yes, of course.
It doesn't. I don't think
Well,
preference.
okay. Here's a question:
always
like,
racist.
if you notice that you have a preference, like, like I have a preference for short-haired cats over long-haired cats.
Right. You're racist
Well,
against long-haired
Well,
cats.
would I? I'm a long-haired cat racist, right?
Right.
But like, But would I go so far as to say, fuck long-haired cats? All long-haired cats suck. I would never have a long-haired cat. No, there are
But no,
circumstances under which a long-haired cat might be really great, and it's like similarly, like if your friend was like, look, I just have noticed that in general I prefer white chicks. That's one thing. But if
okay,
you
thank
say,
you.
but if you
That's where
say that's totally, if that's just like you notice your preference, that's
no,
totally
your
fine.
preferences.
Like I noticed that, like my preference is hamburgers. I love hamburgers. It's like, okay, but if you're like, but if he said like, if you were like, dude, I have this black lady friend. She's so hot and she's so great and so smart and so fun. I think you guys would get along. And he's like, no black ladies for me. Then that's racist because he's not willing to even consider her just purely based on her race.
I don't put it this way. I don't think Chris went that far with it. I think if he, in a moment, he would totally mess around. But yeah, I guess. Okay, I guess the
Like,
question is really,
like if he wakes up and a hot black chick is sitting on his face, is he
he would
going to
hit on
throw
her.
her out of bed?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He's not.
All right.
He's not.
All
He's
right.
going to eat breakfast. He's going to have breakfast.
All right. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is pertinent. F you so, thanks for the $1. My friend argues that black people can't be racist, but I argue that blacks are human like the rest of us, good and bad. We are all flawed humans.
Black people can be as racist as anybody else.
Yeah, no
my
doubt.
my ex-wife's dad, one of the most racist people that I've ever come across in my life. Now he might have reasons for it, but he was rough. He was rough.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, look, my my former in-laws, they were definitely biased against me because I was white and they were Asian, and they were like not pleased that their daughter was marrying a white guy.
Wow.
But that's not uncommon. They got, we ended up, working it out and getting along great. But like that was, it was a process.
I mean, the idea that blacks are somehow, impervious or special on this front. I think
Well,
we
no,
may be
you
more
know
understanding.
this theory, right? Like it's just the idea that a historically disadvantaged group, by definition, ideologically cannot be racist because racism is always a form of discrimination expressed by the powerful against the powerless.
True. No, I get it. No, I understand the theory. I guess I'm saying
But it's bullshit.
it's not like black
It's
people are.
bullshit, right?
I mean, it's not like black people are some special entity. We're human beings, like any other human being. If we're put in a particular condition, we can act in very similar ways. Like it's like meaning, just because white people had the ability to create or have slaves, and for it to flow in the way that it has over the course of the arc of history up to the point where we are now, with a certain amount of control and that type of stuff, doesn't mean that if blacks were in a different situation, that they couldn't behave a different way. We are human beings like anybody else is human beings. In fact, I always think like when Democrats are making these pitches and stuff like that, I keep thinking to myself, they realize blacks are people, right? Like we have to pay for car notes, house notes, kids, pay for school things. We have to buy groceries. We stump our toes. We're just human beings. Like they act like these things are different when they're acting like going for the Hispanic community or the white community or the black community or the Asian community. They're all people. They're all just people. Deal with their material concerns. That's
Right.
all. Just do that.
F you so, thanks for another $1. Most Americans are not racist. The
I don't think they are.
state wants us all to hate each other instead of the elites. Well, that's certainly true. It's
I don't think
propaganda to
we're
divide
racist.
us. They
I mean,
spotlight,
however we define it, I don't think most people are.
they
In
spotlight
fact,
the
I would put the
minority
number
of
like
people.
15%. And maybe that's just me, but I don't think,
I don't know.
I don't think most people are. I think many people may have preferences. And I think many people may have biases based upon just how they were raised, culture, their familiarity, et cetera, what they've seen, what they understand of the world. I think all that's true. But the racist part is a little bit different to me. Systemic, yes. Structural, yes. But people just on a daily basis and interacting with people, I don't think that's the case.
All right, we got to talk about Iran and Oman, but let's hit a few more
Yes.
comments first. Let's see. P.W. Walker, thanks for the buck. A man who leads by 15% suddenly wins by a hair? I'll consider GOP voting for Stevens, as Michigan has an open primary and Republicans ran uncontested, but I can't get the smell of Democratic shitfuckery. I don't.
That's a hell of the polling companies need to explain how they F that up.
That is a big gap. It
Yeah, there's a
really,
big gap.
really is. Phileas Fob, thanks for the dollar. Again, I refer to the research on group ethnic density effect, where the odds of becoming schizophrenic go up as one becomes less of a majority in one's neighborhood.
Really?
Huh.
How weird is that? It's correlation.
That's
Correlation is not
super
causation.
interesting. Yeah.
Well,
that is-
correlation is not causation.
Nope, that's true. All right, let's talk about Iran and Oman. Okay, so
Yes.
Trump announced it, but despite that fact, more to the point, Iran and Oman have announced, and it looks like unlike Trump, there are some credible sources. This looks like it's probably something that's actually being worked on, whether it happens or not, I don't know. But this would be potentially the beginning of the end of one of the major sticking points to the Middle East war, which now has embroiled up to 14 countries. So under this deal that's being worked out, ships would go into the Persian Gulf via Iran and then exit via a route controlled by Oman. They would charge service fees. It's like when you buy a ticket through Ticketmaster. That's a bullshit term for tolls, and basically that would be it. Iran's basically saying that deal. There's no deal for the Strait of Hormuz at all. This deal with Oman is a non-starter unless the U.S. Lifts its blockade on Iran's southern ports. So that's obviously if that happens, it would be a huge victory for Iran. I mean, absolutely. This was a deal breaker for the Americans. Then they were like, we will never allow, these are open waterways. They went on and on about this, but as we talked about here, months ago, there was just never any way this was going to end up any differently.
Yeah. And by the way, Iran, from my understanding, unless I've read that wrong, was still going to exert control over ships going out of the Strait of Hormuz also. Meaning Oman may be getting the waterway, but Iran is still exerting control over what goes out also.
Oman would just get the fee, right?
And they get the fee. Well, yeah. I mean, again, I could have misread it. But unless the negotiations ended up with something different. Because they could have still been in negotiations over yesterday as they were reporting. But either way, you're right. I think the other part of this we need to talk about is Trump. Donald Trump and the United States have been running with this idea that the U.S. is in talks. Donald Trump used talks as a dodge in order to get around the fact that he proclaimed that he was going to launch the largest strike since the Second World War. Something that I don't even think we had the capacity to do, considering we dropped nukes in the Second World War.
And we're apparently out of bombs.
And Vietnam, we did more bombing in Vietnam than we did in the Second World War, right? So put that to the side for the moment. But the fact that he said it, he was stuck in a corner, and he used the fact that Oman and Iran were negotiating as a way to claim that the U.S. is negotiating with Iran. Nonsense. Iran has continuously said, we are not talking to a third party, meaning we're not talking to the U.S. We have nothing to do with that. But the U.S. continuously went with this idea that, the Strait is going to be open on Monday. It's going to be open on Tuesday. CENTCOM puts out, the Strait is already open. Well, the reality of it is, as you point out, Iran has made it very clear. Look, the deal that we're making with Oman has nothing to do with the U.S., nor does it have anything to do with the Strait of Hormuz opening now. Basically, the war continues.
Right.
We're
That's
making this deal for after the war, but right now the war continues. I think what's wild too is Iran looks at this and says, "Hey, this is number 5 of the memorandum of understanding. That's what we're fulfilling right now as we make this deal with Oman to control the Strait of Hormuz," which is wild.
But
I mean,
what's the wildest part to me, JT, is Trump is trying to spin this as like a positive development. I mean,
yes,
and he's talking about it. He's not remaining quiet, man. He has to be, no matter what's going on, even if it's like, bad for him, he's got to be bragging about it. He's like the guy in Idiocracy who watches the thugs blow up his car, and he's like, yeah, yeah, and then the star is like, dude, that's your car. The Strait of Hormuz is
that's your
like,
car.
it's Trump's car. And he's like, yeah, like they're gonna charge tolls on this. That's so great. And it's like we're gonna be close to a deal. It's like, yeah,
It's so schizophrenic.
that's the deal you didn't want. That's the deal that is bad for you. That's the deal that means that energy prices globally will never come down to their pre-war levels, right? That's and it puts Iran in the catbird seat in a big way. I mean, which they have been, but it acknowledges it. For Trump to pimp it up, I mean, that's amazing to me. Like
He's being schizophrenic
because
in one sense, Iran is never going to control the Strait of Hormuz. We're not going to allow that.
Right.
We're near a deal. The Strait of Hormuz is going to be open. And Iran keeps saying, you have nothing to do with this deal. They keep saying it over and over again. You have nothing to do with this deal. But as you point out, he's out there like, a deal is nearly there. We're going to open this strait, and then we're going to talk about nukes. Dude,
Right.
no.
Do you think that like when the U.S. surrenders to Iran and we have Iranian occupation troops driving through the streets of Washington and New York, that he's going to be like, yeah, I arranged this. It's thanks to me that we've got this going on. Yeah, you're welcome, America.
Oh, that is so humiliating. I mean, look, this is on top of the bases being emptied, like basically U.S. abandoning many of his bases. There's been footage of just planes lined up in Israel at Eliat. Like, this is astonishing that he is out here screaming as if he's the dominant force, like he's God Emperor. And it's like, dude,
like he won.
Your bases are being emptied.
Yeah.
You are getting hit over and over again.
Are gone.
Iran attacked you, and you didn't even respond to the attacks. Like, meaning that this stuff needs to be put in perspective.
Right.
I mean, sure, you have a blockade, but obviously, if you had a military solution, you would have taken it. It didn't happen.
No.
It's humiliating.
Yeah.
And then for him to be out there bloviating like this, and when everybody can see it, it's
I give him mad credit just for the balls on that guy. Holy shit! I mean, wow.
If you're gonna lie to me, make it a good lie. I don't want this
There's
shallow.
a book called On Bullshit, but there should be a second edition just for Trump, just to acknowledge him, because man, it's amazing. And all of his little MAGA, tarts on X are going to be like dutifully, like, thank you, President Trump, locked in, so much winning. Best president of our life, best president of all time. Fuck Thomas Jefferson. What?
Right.
Unbelievable.
George Washington got shit on Trump. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck Lincoln. Fuck Roosevelt.
Fuck
Roosevelt's assholes, losers. All right. Phileas Fogg. Again, I refer to the research on group and we already talked about that. Okay. Sorry, there was where was this thing? Oh yeah, here we go. Mr. A. Lee. I have some African aunties. You should hear them talk about white people. Oh, I bet. Okay, so I guess the thing is, this deal may well happen. After all, it's totally in Iran's interest. So
I think it will happen.
Yeah,
I legit think the deal between Israel and Oman will happen. A, it's in Oman's interest. B, it's in Israel's interest. And let's be very clear: Israel holding on to the strait is a
Iran
material, a physical
Iran
matter.
Straight.
Yeah, it's a clear indication of failure. Clear indication of failure. So yeah, Oman is going to collect a bunch of money out of it. Iran is going to be able to control the strait. From Iran's point of view, this is a win-win. The memorandum of understanding said this is what the U.S. agreed to, and so Iran is like, hey, you agreed to this.
So you know what's next is the Houthis. They're going to be like, we could use some of that sweet oil petrodollars. We could use some of that.
See, I don't know how they don't exert the same control though.
No.
Like the Strait of Hormuz, only 6 ships went through on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Red Sea is more porous.
Yeah. Well, the Houthis don't have long-range weapons the way that the Iranians do. I mean, the Iranians have vast stockpiles, and they have underground launching stations, and they've been prepared for this for a long time. They knew this shit was coming, and also they have a real economy, and they're not ravaged by civil war. I mean, Yemen's been, obviously destroyed. So
yeah.
But
they've still been able to exert control. I mean, they recently hit Dubai this morning. Yeah. So Dubai is apparently in flames. They hit a tanker the other day, an Indian flag tanker was out there burning in the Red Sea.
Do tourists still go to Dubai?
Oh, that's a good question. I wouldn't. Not now. Not right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any random day, a missile can hit a tower.
It's the Vegas of the Middle East, but in this case, it's like what happens in Dubai might be you, and you might stay in Dubai like on fire.
Right.
All right, so let's go on here. Europe. So the drought is so severe that basically we're seeing all sorts of insane actions. I mean, we talked about like yesterday, in Japan, the heat wave is killing Japanese people right and left. Even the lions are dying at the zoo from heat stroke. And Romania just had the water levels in the Danube have gone so low that they had to basically blow up the river in order to improve the water flow. Otherwise, there was this only one nuclear reactor in the country, and it risked overheating. Wow. That's not great. And then the Danube and the Rhine levels have gone down so low that you can see sandbars, and these are like sort of river cruise destinations. I don't know, since they're not going to have portage for these things, they have to basically drive people by bus around the blocking points. Farmers are saying that Europeans are going to have to expect fewer and smaller fruits and higher prices. In Holland, the dikes are starting to leak because they're made from peat, and I know, not the Lesbos.
I never said anything. I didn't say anything.
It's a funny word, right? But
I didn't say a word.
I did a deep dive into this. I didn't know shit about Dutch dikes until this morning, and basically a lot of them. So when they dry out, ironically, this is sort of like what happened in New Orleans with when the levees were topped over, and it
right.
So basically this is kind of the opposite of that. When the water level drops, the peat's no longer soggy, and then it dries out, becomes brittle, and then you get leaks, ironically and interestingly. So lower water means actually you're going to have more leaks in the dike system. So anyway, Europe's in deep shit. It looks like Europe is actually going to be ground zero in the climate crisis, at least as far as the developed world, because of the breakdown in the that Atlantic current, right? Which basically is used to keep Western Europe really moderate and temperate, but they're in danger of a new ice age or at the same time as they're burning up in the summers. It's really crazy. I mean, there's some models, computer models that show Europe destroyed by the year 2100. I mean, it's really could become uninhabitable.
I mean, but what do you do about it? Because
at this stage, I don't think there's much you can do.
Let's pretend for the moment that climate change was an alien civilization coming to Earth in order to take it over. At the very least, you can get this kind of clear indication of, okay, we see it coming, or an asteroid. We see the asteroid. We know it's going to hit us. We know it's going to cause damage. But on that's more conceptual, whether people can kind of understand. They can wrap their head around, okay, we need to do something with the fact that an asteroid is about to hit Earth. This is so amorphous. Like, and it's asking people to deal with something. A, they have their own material concerns that they have to deal with, and B, that is kind of nebulous. It's hazy.
Right. Yeah.
I am very
And a lot
skeptical
of
that,
the consequences are, if you're 60 years old, you're probably going to die before you really see the worst of this.
yeah, you
Um,
don't care.
I guess, I got to say, purely logically, there's kind of two main courses of action that ought to happen. And like for the reasons that you described, probably will not, or at least not in a timely manner. One is mitigation for the fact that of all the energy that's already in the atmosphere and all the results that are inevitable, like even if you eliminated internal combustion tomorrow, this process is already underway, and you've got to
10 years. Yep.
you've got to relocate people, you've got to build things, you've got all sorts of stuff you got to do. But then also we should be radically reducing our carbon emissions so that maybe in the 22nd century the results the effect, it's not an ongoing process, and we're not going to 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees Celsius over the beginning of industrialization as average global temperatures. I mean, we should be thinking about the human race long after we're gone. And I don't, we should be doing both of those things.
Well, from my point of view, Europe was doing those things, but Europe prioritized a war in Ukraine over any of this stuff.
Mm.
I mean, keep in mind, from the standpoint of the war, Europe was taking a hit. Europe is usually far better with energy than we are in the United States. I mean, we have a glut of it, and because we have a glut of it, we leave the lights on. We, go puttering about, driving cars just a block away in order to get so and so. They don't really do that. Not really in Europe.
No.
Like the cars tend to be more.
That's why they don't want air conditioning, even though it's fucking hot and they're dying.
Yeah, or even in the cold, they don't necessarily have heat in a way that we would have in the States. I mean, God's sake, I'm freezing in Germany. In fact, I even burned the stove or burnt the lining to the refrigerator by accident because I was using the stove to try to heat the house because the heat in Germany didn't necessarily go beyond a certain amount. And I'm like, what is wrong with this place?
I've been there in New York, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just wild, right? So they do prioritize environmental concerns, but they decided that they wanted to fight a war in Ukraine. They decided that, right? Like, and you can't have it both ways. And so, whereas they were getting cheap energy before that they were trying to be environmentally friendly with, not so much now. So I don't know. I am not confident for the short term. I am more bullish for long term.
Yeah. It's bleak. Well, I want to remind everyone that at 12 noon today, we've got the Q&A show with you, me, and Robbie. So ask us anything. We'll talk about anything, including the Michigan election results or Iran-Oman, anything that comes up between now and then, whatever you want to talk about. So we're looking forward to that. Thank you for supporting the show. We do the Q&A Monday and Wednesday at 12 noon. We do the regular show, DeProgram, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. every single day, Monday through Friday, Eastern time, and stream anytime or listen. And you can obviously listen anytime. And coming up right now, we've got the TMI show with myself and Manila Chan. Producer Robbie is having power issues out there in Montana, so I don't know how much we'll see him coming up. But JT, it's fun. There's been more requests for evening streams. So
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. We should maybe.
I saw that.
I'm not for the nighttime, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hang for the light night.
I'm like, it's sleepy time.
It's 9 o'clock. I need to go to bed.
That's so true, though. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks, JT.
No, we made a lot of fun of you last night after you left.
I hope so.
Yeah, we did. The
did.
audience
It was
was joking the shit out of you.
Yeah. I hope you called me gay. Okay, bye.
No, nobody did. Have a good one, Ted. Have a good one.